Hello, greetings everyone. Greetings of the day wherever you are. I'm Karen Bartle and I'm going to be your host today on this beautiful day actually on the sunny coast. I've just come back from Melbourne where it was absolutely freezing down there. And I've got to say I am so glad to be home on the beautiful sunny warm sunshine coast. So go where everybody knows your name, where they're always glad you came. Do you remember that from the Cheers bar in the 1980s? That was one of my favorite shows. And I loved shows around that time, but that always stuck with me about go where everybody knows your name and they're always glad you came. And, testament to that is where, I don't know if you know this, but I looked at this statistic this morning. And did you know, ladies and gentlemen, that there are 620 million groups just on Facebook alone? Did you know that? That is a stunning statistic. And I know for sure a lot of them won't be active. Just like LinkedIn, about 95% of the thousands of groups on there are inactive. But, that is a stunning statistic that we as a human species, we like to be part of something. We like to be part of a group, something where we belong, where we've got purpose and meaning. And, it makes us feel good when we get there. And, when I was a kid, and I'm sure when my next guest comes on, Kerry Atherton, when she comes on, she'll be probably saying the same thing as me. When we were kids, in our era, Facebook didn't exist, right? Internet didn't exist. What did exist is communities where we had social clubs, we had gatherings, we had Sunday church, Sunday kind of church and Sunday school, and we had things that we attended with our families and our friends. And that was it. In our communities, we got together and we talked about stuff. We had face-to-face, we hugged, we kissed, we shook hands. We did things that you can't do much of these days because you can't hug people on a group on Facebook. It's impossible. You can't smell them. You can't feel them. You can't, Anyway, I won't go any further. You can't do a lot of things. And my next guest, Kerry Atherton, has kind of continued that kind of theme really in terms of, she's had her own journey. I hope she's going to talk about some of that today because that's what's inspired her to be and to do the things that she does today. And that is to host, a stunning, useful, purposeful group in a community where she's been able to get people together and get inspirational speakers to talk about their experiences, including herself. And, that's kind of bringing a community together. That's what's missing, I think, on things like these Facebook groups these days. It's great. They're great. Don't get me wrong. I'm part of a lot of them, but it doesn't have the same feel as it does where you kind of live and breathe people right in the moment. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in my next guest. And she's a stunning. This is the first time on Facebook Live, so give us some support. We've all been there. We've all had our very first experience, and we're here. We're live, and this is a great experience to share some good stuff. We've already got some great people in. So Darren Eastwell. Good morning, Darren. Hi, good to see you. Who else have we got there? We've got Helen Layton. Hello, Helen. And Taufik. Welcome to the show. So let's bring in my guest, my wonderful guest. I think I've lost my lighting here for some reason. But anyways, forget it. We're going to bring Kerry in. Good morning, Kerry. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to the show. This is your very first live. How are you feeling?
Oh, yeah, good. I've done podcasts before, but not Facebook Live. So there's a first time for everything.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're welcome. We've had a few technical problems this morning where we still have, like my lighting's disappeared, but do you know what? That's just part and parcel of doing live work, and it is what it is. So tell us a bit about Kerry, about your journey and how it's got you to where you are today in terms of starting that stunning group, which you had not when we talked before, not big expectations for it, but it kind of it's gone somewhere where possibly you didn't expect it to go. I don't know. Tell us about.
Well, I guess I grew up in a real community focus. I had quite an unusual upbringing in the fact that both my parents were in Alcoholics Anonymous, and at 11 I was going to Atherton meetings, which is for children of alcoholics. Can you hear me okay, Karen?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, yeah.
And we got together and we shared about the hard times in our life. So it was a support group. And then I at the time, my parents didn't really realise, but I was abusing pills. And at 15, I had my first drink and became a fully blown alcoholic. And so at 16, my dad brought me into these rooms of AA where him and mum had gone. And it wasn't until I was 18 that I hit rock bottom that I knew that there was nowhere else for me to go. It was either death or becoming clean and sober. And I just had this real, I had wanted to take my life when I was 18. I'd planned to commit suicide, and AA was my only option. And I knew if I wanted to see life past my 21st birthday that I had no other option other than to get clean and sober. And I've remained sober for 37 years now.
Awesome. That is awesome. Hey.
Yeah. It's been interesting. It's hard doing life with no vices. Very hard, especially when the hard times hit.
Yeah.
But most of my years in that fellowship, gathering together with people who were going through the same problems, where we could talk about things and encourage each other, was just so much a part of my life. And it's something that a lot of people don't have out there. So when I really hit rock bottom a couple of years ago after losing many members of my family and going through lots of really difficult problems, and I was just in such a dark tunnel, and I really was so lonely, and I just couldn't really see a way out. And I went along to a conference where I heard a couple of people speaking and sharing their stories. And it was at that moment that I thought, I can't have gone through all this stuff for no reason. And I want to share my stories to help bring other people out of the darkness and into the light. And I was very lonely growing up because I was bullied a lot, and I didn't have a lot of friends in my teenage years. And so loneliness throughout my life has really been my qualification for my community work, because I know what it's like to feel like you're all on your own.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever heard that saying, alone in a crowd.
Yeah.
Like I've been in many crowds and had many people surrounding me, but still felt like the loneliest person in the world.
Absolutely. I can totally relate with that. And, a lot of people have those stories, but it's not until you actually experience it yourself that you kind of can connect with that experience and to understand it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do feel so alone and isolated when they're going through that tough stuff, and feel that they're the only ones going through that, right?
Yeah. I think there's a sense too when you're the person that's been the go-to person for everyone. So I've been a counsellor for many years, and the family rescuer as well, being the older sister. Both my parents have died recently. But being that person, when the rubber really hits the road, it's like, who do I talk to?
Sure.
And that's what's been, hard. But I've found a great community of people now that I'm helping, but in turn, it's what goes around comes around. They've also helped me, so
yeah.
Amazing.
So what was it about the group? Because you've managed to turn things around and kind of find resilience where no one else would think resilience could come from. You've managed to be strong through all that, and like you say, you've been strong for everyone else. And then kind of it's kind of hit you in terms of, wow, who's there for me? But what was it that kind of, you said you attended something which kind of you felt connected with you in terms of connecting with people? Because it could have been anything, I suppose, that you kind of were inspired from your experience and how deep that and dark that place was and how you came from that and how inspired you were to do something with that. It could have been kind of anything. So what was it particularly about starting a group, a community group, that kind of inspired you to go down that street?
I think it was the different stories that the people that were speaking at their conference that day, they mentioned everything I was going through. Like, you know, I've been through sexual abuse, I've been through addiction, I've been through bullying, I've been through grief and loss. And Matt Galinsky, the chef who lost his family in the fire, was up doing a cooking demonstration. And I thought the fact that I couldn't even get out of bed in the morning and be up there smiling on stage, it just gave me so much inspiration, seeing these people just getting up, sharing their stories. Yeah. And I just knew that I had so much to offer the world by way of my lived experience. And I just knew that if I've overcome all those things, then I can bring hope to so many other people. And so,
sorry, go.
Yeah, so that was at the base of it, because I also, through my counselling work and being a community connector, I know literally thousands of people with stories of they've come out the other side. And I thought, we hear so much doom and gloom these days every time we hear the news, and our community needs something that is positive and evidence that you can go through the hardest of times and there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
People telling their stories is human evidence.
Awesome. So tell us about the group, the very first group that you started, and the anticipation and the expectation that you had from starting that very first, you know, turning up. Like, what expectations did you have?
Well, I actually had an expectation of maybe 4 friends turning up. It's a real line in the sand for me, because I've always been a big dreamer. And I've always had my dreams squashed by many people around me. Never had like a lot of encouragement. My dad was my biggest encourager, but he's been gone now for a couple of years. Yeah. But because of self-doubt and because not really believing in myself, I've always had a dream and then just thought, no, I can't do that. And fear has been huge in my life. Yeah. And I just had such a desire to do this that I thought, I'm not going to stop this time. I'm drawing a line in the sand and I'm going to have a go. And I thought the worst thing that can happen is nobody can turn up, or one person can turn up, and at least I've had a go.
Yes, absolutely.
And the fear of not doing it would have been worse than the fear of doing it. So I did. 30 people turned up.
30 people turned up. Wow. Wow.
Believed in me and wanted to share my vision with me. And I was crying when I got up and said it's a lifelong dream, you know, and I really realised at that point that my whole life had come together with all my experiences and everything for this moment in time. Yeah. And I've been like, it's almost like I've been, you know, running through hoops ever since, trying to keep up with what's come as a result of doing this, you know. And I've been so excited and so passionate, and it's like an unstoppable movement now.
Wow, that was amazing, right? That, you know, the fear of not turning up was worse than the fear of turning up and there just being a few people there. That is such a lesson for people to learn. I think, and the fact that you did turn up and so many people were there to support you. What does that say, right?
that really meant the world to me. It really did. Yeah. But I think we have to believe in ourselves. Yeah. Before anybody else will believe in us. And it gets to the point, I got to the point where I thought I really don't, I've gotten to the point in my life now where I don't care what other people think.
Okay, that's good. That's a good place to be, right?
Yeah, that's been huge for me because there's nothing to lose once you're at that point.
Yeah, that's really good. That's good learning. So, what kind of guests come to your to come and talk at your event?
Okay, well, I'm trying to cover every topic. We've had a guy that fell off a cliff at Phillip Island and basically died at the bottom of the cliff and was, brought back to life and had just Anybody still watching?
Yeah, you're still there, Kerry. You are still there.
Former leading detective on the Daniel Morcombe case who had a breakdown and has talked about his PTSD issues.
Oh, wow.
A beautiful lady who became a widow, and she was a businesswoman. They were in business together, and she now has widows all over the world. I've had Darren, who's listening. Hi, Darren. He's a great friend these days. He had a bike accident and lives with a traumatic brain injury. Sheila, who had a stroke. A lady, Shelley, who had an eating disorder. And I really cover every topic, and I've got many speakers up my sleeve.
Yeah, so how do you choose then who comes on the event? Do you just kind of how do you pick and choose? What does the story need to have for you in terms of it being a kind of something purposeful for your group?
It's not so much the story; it's about the people that I choose. Okay. I only have people there who have no agenda other than bring hope to people. I've had many people approach me from all over Australia with different stories, but who have an agenda to build their business.
Sure.
And I'm not interested in that. I want the people in the audience need to know that the people that are speaking are there to just offer hope with no other agenda. And I also have a no religious and no political agenda as well.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I have my own beliefs. I think religion has done so much damage in society, and it's religion, politics, and business. If done in the wrong way, are all such dividing factors in our communities and society. So I just want all the walls to be broken down so that people can just come in raw, right where they're at. Doesn't matter if they've just come off the streets or, and feel safe and like there's going to be no judgment and they're not going to be sold anything and nothing's going to be pushed onto them. So
that's awesome. Do you think that's possibly why you've been so successful? Possibly because I think you yourself are inspirational in terms of your journey that you've had and authentic, I think, in terms of you're not trying to be someone you're not. You're not trying to be some celebrity and create something to earn money from it. You're doing this for the love of and the joy of bringing people together and sharing experiences, and the people are really important to you. That possibly, and the fact that there is no agenda apart from this is a safe place, isn't it? This is a safe place to come. Is it once a month you meet? Once a month?
But we also hold different events. So I have done it at different locations, and as part of this, I'm running men's only mental health nights, women's only night, where I want to talk about a couple of topics that is probably a bit more sensitive to talk about, in a mixed audience, like sexual abuse and domestic violence.
Yeah.
So there are a couple of topics. I plan to run that in the Mental Health Week in September, and I'll be running another men's only mental health night. And Stu, the detective, has been instrumental in hosting those for me on behalf of Stories of Hope, and Darren and another great guy, Matt Mees, has also helped us in with those events as well. And so trying to cater for everyone. also trying to get a bit of a younger audience. I just know so many young people are struggling, and we've had quite a few suicides on the coast recently, which really breaks my heart and is really one of the driving factors behind what I do, is to bring the suicide rate down.
Sure.
But
did I read on your website, Kerry, that you are do you go into schools as well to do counselling to the young people?
Programs, and I take them into schools. I'm going back into another school in a couple of weeks and going to be working with Matt Adamson, who is a former NRL player, and we're going to be talking about, you know, all the issues that young people face today and talking about our lived experience and giving them strategies about what would you do if these situations happen to you, and how can you keep yourself safe and make things better for yourselves.
That is so good. That is so useful. And, you know, so proactive in terms of this, because a lot of them kids may not be there yet. They may not be at the age or the time in their lives where they are necessarily experiencing something that's going to kind of cause them a lot of challenges. But yet going in there and getting in there early, isn't it, in terms of giving them the kind of resources and tools and techniques. We're very fond of that on this show, is to give people tools, techniques, and talent and kind of ways of managing things better.
Yeah.
You know, even if they're not at that stage, or if they are at that stage but they've not really sought help, they've not gone and talked to anyone about what they're going through and what they're feeling and what their thoughts are going, you know, what kind of thoughts they're having and all that kind of stuff. Wow. So you're working across the board. You're working right from the young ones right through to, what's the oldest ones that come to your group?
Oh, 70s. They love it. It's all ages, really. I mean, we have had a couple of younger guys turn up at the mental health nights, and in my counselling, most of the counselling with people that are adults as well, it's as a result of unresolved childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And there's, especially with drugs, I'm very big on counselling with addiction, and I have, you know, counselled people that have ice problems and the parents when their kids have fallen prey to ice. And it's really devastating sitting with families trying to help them recover from a devastating situation.
Sure.
That's what drives me in the prevention model.
Yeah.
So I think we can put the things in place when kids are early and give some support then. When they're adults, they won't be like, I have adults sitting in front of me trying to mop up from their past.
Yeah.
And bring that down. But, yeah, so that's kind of behind why I'm across the board.
Awesome. So where are you hoping to go with the group? Like, how long has it been running already?
Been running since January 2017.
Awesome. That's quite a time. Yes, that's nearly a year and a half, right?
Yeah.
It is over a year now.
I'm writing a book. So in the final stages now of putting the book together, and I have 12 of my speakers from 2017 sharing their stories in that book. And I'm planning, I would love to take this all over Australia.
Wow, and that's awesome.
Businesses as well for staff's mental health and well-being.
And you know what else? The conversation we had as well was that how you'd started this, not only from nothing, but that you'd put your own time, energy and money into this in terms of starting it and trying to gain momentum with it and to keep it consistently flowing month after month after month, without any funding, apart from you've had a few businesses that have sponsored and the place where you host it. Where is it you host it again, Kerry? Where's the place?
Cabin at Maroochydore.
And they've given you the kind of the venue, haven't they, to be able to do this? So you haven't had to kind of fork out for a venue.
Yeah, they've been amazing. They've dedicated it for the next year, this next year as well. And
awesome.
They're right behind us. And I have a local business guy from DT Rust Proofing, who gives me a small amount of money each month as well to just helped me, I have a lot of meetings, a lot of catch-ups with people, and because I won't let anybody speak until I've actually met up with them first.
Yes.
And got a sense of are they right for this event?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's and other than that, it's been my own funding. IGA Marketplace Wisers Road now donate a gift voucher of $100 each time, and so that's really good. That's something that I could have used that for the supper, but I really wanted it's something else that I thought. There's a lot of people coming into those rooms that are struggling, and to be able to win something like that, does so much for somebody who's struggling financially.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I'd like to give that away every month.
So what happens? What happens if the group is so kind of popular that there's no space for people? What happens then? Has it got to that point yet where you're having to turn people away?
We had a very big night on January 2018, exactly 1 year from the start. Matt Linsky, one of the people who had really inspired me at that conference, actually came and shared his story, and we had 150 people there that night, and pretty packed out.
That was awesome.
Had great crowds since then, but that was the biggest. But if it's all about, I say this, that it doesn't matter whether we've got, 5 people or 150. It's all about the ones, because we never know when one person's life change, what kind of a life changer that one person's going to go on to be.
Sure.
And how many lives they're going to impact. But if
absolutely.
we get to the stage where we're packed out and turning people away, I'll just ramp up the meetings nightly or different venues.
And do the same people turn up each time, or does it depend who's talking in terms of it inspires other people to come and listen to those stories?
We've seem to have a regular group of supporters. There was a group that kind of were coming maybe for the first 6 months, and that's kind of, some of them have dropped off, and we've got a new round of supporters. But I've actually got really a core team now, and those people are actually people that have spoken in the past, and they're just so behind, what we're doing, that they really want to be part of this, and they're helping now spread the word. But It does very much vary. I would say a third to half of the audience on the speaker that I have coming up, or on the night, and the topic that's relative to what they're going through or someone they know is going through, then I always see new faces, which is a great thing.
That's awesome. So, I can't thank you enough, Kerry, for joining us today and sharing your experience. We've not had anyone on yet who's actually talked about starting and growing an event like this. I think, like I said at the beginning, a lot of community groups are not happening anymore, like community events where people can actually get together and on a monthly, weekly or whatever basis and talk together in a physical environment. It's not happening as much because everyone's going on social media these days and getting what they need from there. But I think it's awesome that you're kind of able to not only start it but grow this into something phenomenal, where now you're looking to take it around Australia. That's exciting.
I know. One thing I will say is in my counselling work, most of my clients do talk about their loneliness, and that's something that by doing this, that I'm really hoping to alleviate in society and create that space. And I've found that so many of the people that come to Stories of Hope are building connection and relationship with each other now, and kind of like looking after each other. So it's like a community within a community type thing. So that's fantastic.
That's lovely. That is so good to hear. Well, thanks again for joining us today. But all the best with the group. It's stunning. And, from that very first group where you got 30 people turning up. And that's more than anyone could hope for, really, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's great. Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck with it all, and keep in touch, and let us know when you're kind of traveling around Australia with it. That would be awesome to come back on and share that and talk to us about that again.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, how did you feel today doing this on your first Facebook Live?
Oh, yeah, great. Good.
Yeah, you're probably...
Darren's head there. Darren's a good friend now, so...
you're probably less concerned than I am, because I've been losing my light all over the show really? Today, and it kind of, I've been putting you on here because my lighting's just got such... Well, I don't know what's going on anyway, but that's technology for you. Thanks, Kerry. Have a great day.
See ya.
Talk to you soon. Bye. Oh, well, thanks to Kerry for today. I mean, you know, great, you know, low expectations of what she was going to do there, but how that group has grown and grown and grown. Like she says now, it's kind of a community within a community, and we need more of this. We need more of this stuff rather than all these Facebook groups that keep coming and going and disappearing. It's going to go from strength to strength. I know that for sure. Now, if you've left any comments, I'm sure Kerry will be able to talk to you afterwards. And if you've got any questions, if you want to find out where the group is and come and, you know, join the group, I think there's one coming up, I believe, quite soon. Yeah, I'm going to put the link as well to Kerry's website, and she'll be able to, you know, be able to contact Kerry, and she'll be able to give you some more information about that group. But until next time, in fact, I'm tomorrow, and I hope the lighting's back by tomorrow, and you'll be able to see me a bit better. But yeah, I'll have another guest tomorrow, Tina C. Hines, talking to me about all the good things that she does with her people. So until then, have a good day. Bye-bye.